Hello, sisters. Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast, weaving powerful, soulful practices into functional medicine. Step into this beautiful space of devotion and explore everything from nurturing foods, rituals, sexuality, and awakening your innate sensuality. It is time to own your radiance. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Hello and welcome back to another week of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Margaret Romero, and this week's new guest is Christy Whitman. I came across her audiobook a few months ago and really, really loved it. So I just had so many questions for her regarding her book. And I wanted to bring about a few of the really most crucial and important and vital ways to actually manifest. Because I don't know about you, but I have read so many different things about manifesting, and you have to feel it, and you have to do this and that, and make believe it's really happening or that it's already happened. And I know that there's a lot of you out there who may have done this as well, and may be feeling like, look, I did it. It's not really working. I'm not really sure, what else to do or what I'm doing wrong. So today, Christy talks all about it. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a transformational leader, a master certified coach and energy healer, and also a New York Times bestselling author of her first book, The Art of Having It All, A Woman's Guide to Unlimited Abundance. But her new book, which we'll be talking about today, is called Quantum Success, 7 Essential Laws for a Thriving, Joyful, and Prosperous Relationship with Work and Money. She's been on the Today Show, The Morning Show, 17 Magazine, People Magazine, Women's Day, and Teen Vogue, among others. She's also the CEO and founder of Quantum Success Coaching Academy. And she lives in Arizona with her husband and her 2 boys. So I had her on the show because I loved her audiobook, but I wanted to speak to her specifically about questions that I had as well. So we dive really deep into this, and she tells you exactly what to do. Even if you're in the middle of let's say having issues with lack of money, lack of having enough money to pay bills or something like that. That was the example that we talked about. And I think it's possible that a lot of you have tried manifesting and having certain visualizations or affirmations and just not really finding that it's been helpful. But we really talk about it. I was like, I want to know exactly what to do when that thought of lack comes up. Lack of anything. Lack of a partnership, lack of money, lack of whatever it is. And how to really allow the thought, if it comes in, what to do next. It's a really, really powerful interview. I encourage you to listen if you're having any issues with money, with work. I think this will be a really potent topic for you. And I actually am going to be listening to this interview again. I just couldn't stop taking enough notes. So I hope you love and enjoy it. It was so great to meet Christy, and she's such a powerful woman. All right, on to the show. This week's guest is Christy Whitman. Thank you so much for being with us today, Christy.
Thanks, Margaret, for having me.
I was listening to your book on audio, and me and a very close girlfriend of mine had decided months ago that we wanted to manifest things into our lives. So I wanted to just share parts of your book with my audience so they can maybe, we're in August, end of August, but still we have a quarter of the year left. If there are things that people are still currently working on that they want to get to, or a goal or a vision that they have, they may be able to use some of these tools to kind of get them going and having them do that maybe by the end of the year if possible. So why don't we start with one of your favorite laws of sufficiency and abundance. Why don't we talk about that and start there?
Love it. So universal laws are laws that work for every single person, every single time. And there are 7 essential laws that, there's more than 7 laws, but these are for me, the laws that really pull everything together. And that if you learn, understand, and apply these 7 essential laws, it's like, the rules of the game. And like the game of life, if you will. So one of the most important, a lot of people have heard of law of attraction or watched the movie The Secret. So for me, that one is just a mirror. It's like it's working all the time. It's just giving us back what we're giving out. But where we can actually use our power and actually become more empowered is when we talk about the law of sufficiency and abundance, because most people are raised have a perspective of lack and limitation. And anytime we've had our heart broken, we might make decisions that, love stinks, or we don't get the promotion that other people we get passed over and other people, do better than us, or that we don't have what it takes. Or there's, so many different limited things that we could go into. And when we are thinking or having a perspective that there's not enough, that we don't have enough, that we're not enough, that we don't know how, and there's no way to find out, all the places of limitation, that's what we're going to continue to attract into our experience. And so the way to shift that is to really start to look at what are the ways that you can be sufficient in your life? What are the ways that you can feel positive aspects for where you are while getting excited for what's coming ahead? And, shifting the beliefs, but more importantly, the energy behind the limitations, so that you can then shift into a different type of energy. So for example, instead of feeling lack, how could you shift and feel abundance? Instead of feeling, lack, how can you shift and feeling sufficiency or joy or success or freedom or whatever it is that you want? The thing that we have to remember is that most people want what they want. They have a goal, they have desire, because they think that that certain thing is going to bring them what they're wanting. So we all have this like, oh, I want to have a partner, or I want to get a job promotion, I want to start my own business, or whatever the goal or desire is. And we assign an emotion with it. So if I do get the guy, or if I do get the promotion, then I will feel this way. I'll feel happy. I'll feel, successful. I'll feel whatever. And that's the way, it's like a backwards way of manifesting what we want. Because if you're coming from a place of lack, you cannot ever manifest what you want from a place of lack, because it completely goes against the law. You have to come from a place of fulfillment. So it's like if you hold the space of success then comes to you. Instead of having to chase after those things that you think are going to make you feel successful, a lot of times what happens is we get there and we're like, I thought that if I made that much money, that would make me feel successful. That didn't do it. Maybe I need to make more, right? Maybe I need another accomplishment. Maybe I need to have another kid. Maybe it's not this guy. Maybe it's someone else, maybe it's 5 more pounds, whatever that is.
Right.
And so we're always going like chasing after something, always to fill this like really emptiness. Is we're not fulfilled when we get there. And the key to that is if you just ask yourself, what is it that I'm wanting and why? What is the bottom line feeling? How am I thinking I'm going to feel? What am I projecting outside of myself of how I'm going to feel? Okay, so I'd feel if I was out of debt and completely, all my bills are paid to zero balance, how would I feel? I would feel free. If I got that promotion with that corner office, I would feel successful. If I got, whatever it is. And then you cultivate that feeling within your body. So you start to bring in the feeling of feeling free or successful. And you start to say words that align with the feelings of being free or successful. You start to think in thoughts that are in alignment with freedom or success. And you allow yourself to really change your whole energetic part of you so that you're in the space of abundance, already having what you're wanting. And that's how you literally, by vibrationally, draw those things to you. Now, it still means that you do have to take action. It doesn't mean that, okay, we're just here to meditate all day long or just sit around and feel good all day long. We have to do something too. And that's what I love about one of the laws, the law of polarity, is that we're both physical and metaphysical. And when we're just looking at one side of the equation, if we're just taking action alone and pushing through things and, just using physical force or like, okay, I'm going to make this happen, we're doing it so much harder and we're more overwhelmed and overworked than we need to be, because everything is energy. Right. And when you're coming from a place of alignment and then taking alignment momentum from that place of alignment, now you're working with both and the same is true on the other end. If you're like, oh, I'm just going to think positive and put up a vision board and meditate all day, but then you don't take any action, you're also missing that part of the equation. So like what you read about or listened about, I guess, because you're listening to the audio, in my book, Quantum Success, is that it's all about alignment and momentum. And when you are aligned, meaning, you want a desire, you have a desire, you've assigned, okay, I'm going to feel successful when this desire manifests or whatever other emotions, and your thoughts, your words, your emotions, everything are in alignment with that end desire. And then you take inspired action from that place, doing the next step and the next step and the next step, taking that momentum. That's when you find yourselves manifesting things very quickly, because you're both in alignment and using momentum.
So I know that there might be some people who are listening that are going to say, well, how can I feel abundant if I'm checking my bank account and it's a negative or there's very little in there? How can I feel abundant if I can see the reality of things, and the reality is that there's just not enough in there? Or the reality is that I really don't have a boyfriend and I am home on a Friday night or something like that. If it's the reality and it's what's happening currently, I would think that it would be hard for people to think that they're abundant if all they see is lack.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Yes.
How do you not see lack when you're looking at a bank account, for example?
Okay, so good example. And it happens all the time. And the thing is that you just haven't been trained yet to do that. You haven't been conditioned to do that. And that's what the normal human experience is.
Yes.
Is that you look at a bank account and then we have a reaction based on what is there or not there. And because of our quote unquote reality, then we continue to react and respond to that reality, giving it the same vibration of lack. Now, you have to remember that your thinking, your feeling got you to where you are in this situation to create the reality that you were in. So it wasn't like you got, in debt and then you felt this way. You were feeling a certain way and thinking a certain way before you ever created the situation. And if you kind of dissected it, it works for that all the time. It's like a bad hangover, like you drink the night before, and the next morning you have this horrible hangover and you kind of have to let the hangover go away or, not drink or do something else. Our best thinking created the situations that we have right here in our lives today. Everything is vibration first. And so if you continue to allow yourself to be reactive to what is, then you cannot ever be in a place of applying the law of deliberate creation where you get to choose how you're going to react and respond. Now, someone said, okay, from a very practical standpoint, you're looking at, a bank account and you got a bill that came in and you're like, I don't have money to pay the bill. I mean, that's a very real thing, right? And it's like, how am I supposed to feel abundant because it's really easy to feel abundant when you have an abundance of money. Right.
Yes,
right. But where the work is in the beginning when the reality that you want hasn't manifested yet. And so that's when you look at your bank account and you literally have to stop yourself and go, okay, what do I want? I want to have excess of money. Well, what is that excess of money? I want to have $10,000 extra in my checking account every month. Okay. So if I had that, why would I want that? I want that because I want to know that every bill that comes in, I can easily pay it. I want to feel free. I want to be able to have extra money so that I can go buy a top if I want to, or a pair of shoes, or I could go on a vacation, or I can go out for the night, whatever it is, you start listing out, what do you want? Why do you want it? How do I want to feel? And then you start to get into that place of feeling abundant, start to feel what it would feel like to actually have all of your bills paid to zero balance, and to have, the money coming in, and the money that you want in the bank, and being able to pay it, so that whatever you're wanting, you want to feel that as if that is your reality, and you want to stay consistently there. Now, of course, you still have to pay your bill, and you have to do whatever you need to do, but it's the energy and the reaction towards the situation or the circumstance that needs to be different. And when that is different, then you'll see when it's different, when it's consistent, that's when the actual reality will shift. So the condition might be you don't have enough money, and you don't have enough money to pay the bills. So you're going to do what you need to do on a reality level, whether it's pay half the bill or call the credit card company and say, I'm going to pay, this much now, and then whatever. So deal whatever, we're not saying
Right.
Put your head in the sand and don't pay the bill,
Right.
or just completely go, you know what, I'm going to ignore these bills altogether, or I'm going to feel totally abundant. And with that being abundant, I'm going to go wreck up all my credit cards. That is not what I'm saying.
Right.
There's the physical action of things. There's the momentum of things, but there's the energy of things. So you could have a situation that's not to your liking, what I like to call contrast. You could have some kind of contrast in your life, like don't have enough money to pay the bills, and still be able to shift your energy so that you're feeling that sense of freedom. Like the what if. Wouldn't it be nice if I had, this amount of money? Gosh, it's going to, start creating a different story, start creating a different script. You could actually time yourself for 68 seconds and start talking about how great it will feel when you do have more money, because that will raise your vibration, that will shift the energy, and that will start to create a very different reality.
I see. Okay. So you're acknowledging, you're present with what's currently happening, but you're not really staying in that fear and that lack. You're whatever, maybe picking up an extra shift, or you're calling the credit card company, or saying I'll have it paid by next Friday or something like that. But you're then right away, like you said, and is the 58 seconds like a thing? Is that like a number? Is that like the magic number or something? Or is it just as long as you can think in a positive way?
So it's 68 seconds. So it takes about,
okay.
Yeah, it takes 17 seconds to shift a vibration, and it takes 68 seconds to actually shift law of attraction into starting to move into a different way. What happens with most people is if they're starting to work with energy and vibration and the universal laws, is that you need to stay consistent. And so when you're shifting the whole lot, when the law of attraction starts kicking in and starts feeding you something very different, instead of lack abundance, and you have the 68 seconds where you focus on what you want and what how you want to feel and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you go back to, but I don't have enough money. You're splitting your energy, and you're also being inconsistent in your vibration.
Okay.
So, it's important to stay consistent on what you want to experience and what you want to have. So if you have to take several times throughout the day to meditate, to time yourself, talk about what you want and raise your vibration and read uplifting books and, watch or listen to uplifting podcasts or videos on YouTube or whatever it is to get you back into that place of feeling good, then do what you need to do. It's in the beginning when you're wanting to shift something that seems so concrete and so real, and it seems like there's no way this would work. That's in the beginning where you need to put in the work, because once you get the ball rolling, it's like it is the momentum, and you start seeing more evidence of abundance. You start to see things shifting, and it's like, wow, this is working. Oh my gosh. And then your willingness to work on it and to shift, and it doesn't have to take long either, because the universe is like vibrational. And so as things start to shift, all those things that have been kind of waiting there start to reveal itself to you. And the more you see them, it's like any belief. The more you start seeing evidence of it, the more you start believing in it, the more you start paying attention to your thoughts and your feelings and what you say, and you start creating the life that you do want instead of what you don't want.
Okay. All right. I get it now. And so what if you added that on with, and I don't know if you've done this, but I'm just saying it because it's something that I do. And so I tend to dance. I dance at home. So with music. And if I were to suddenly feel abundant, or as if I had, I don't even know, an extra $50,000 in the bank, or a new love partner, or something that I've been desiring for a long time, let's just say. And if I just start to think about that, I actually already have it, and I'm sort of dancing and very happy about the fact that I can't believe I already have this, does it raise the energy to a much higher level?
Absolutely. When you could see, that's the difference, is that when you can come from the energy of having it, you're in the abundance of fulfillment, in the abundance of satisfaction, sufficiency, contentment. And then what happens is you're out of reality. The thing that happens, whether it's situations, circumstances, events, has to match that energy. But if we're in lack and notice that we don't have it yet, where is it? When's it going to come? Then that's when we're back in lack. And then the evidence will show that.
Okay. Great. I love that. And so are there certain things that you do? Is it like meditation every day? Are you doing like affirmations? Like what else can help people to kind of get into the groove when they feel a lack thought coming in?
So I feel that meditation is one of the best ways to literally shift our vibration, because you're getting out of resistance. You're working with the universal laws by getting into pure potentiality, getting into a space of allowing, and it's a way to stop the monkey mind and to get out of lack, and to have an opportunity to shift your energy into something that feels good. So that's one thing. I love affirmations because if they're done right, affirmations can be used and not done right. And what I mean by that is, if you say, for example, you're going to say to yourself, I am abundant, and you're like, I'm abundant, and there's no feeling or conviction, you're not moving energy. So the whole purpose of focusing on an affirmation is, number one, to discover what is the thought that you're saying, or what you are saying doesn't feel good, to shift it to something that is. So if you're like, oh, I'm tired of being in debt, something you could shift and say instead is, I'm a money magnet, right? And as long as you're saying that, I am a money magnet, money loves me, I love money, money loves me, I'm a money magnet, I'm a money magnet, and you're raising your vibration, you could feel your whole state shifting, then you're making a difference with the affirmations. But if you're just kind of mouthing it and not really allowing your energetic state to change, it doesn't do anything. It's better than focusing on a negative thought, because you're putting a positive thought there. But if you really want it, so it's kind of like a spectrum, right? There's a negative thought of, I don't have any money. And then you shift the thought to, I'm a money magnet, even though it's not really much feeling and conviction. That's better than focusing on the negativity. But then when you get into a state of, I'm a money magnet, I'm a money magnet, I'm a money magnet, I am magnetizing money, I am a money magnet. Now you are shifting your energy, you're shifting the frequency, and that's when the universe starts to respond.
Okay. So you're saying it with conviction and feeling and emotion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. I have an NLP friend who I was working with, and he said the same thing, even with when we were working together, that I needed to say things with feeling and like just an excitement.
Yes. Otherwise it doesn't work.
Right. And I think that sometimes that's lacking when people do an affirmation. It's just sort of reciting words without really having the emotion behind it or the excitement behind it.
Absolutely. And the other thing is too, is that if someone doesn't believe something that they're saying, so say, for example, someone's like 300 pounds and they're like, I have my lean and fit body. And they're looking in the mirror and they're like, I am lean and fit. If it's so out of whack from where they actually are, like if someone is deeply in debt and they're like, I am a millionaire, right? It's too far of a vibrational stance that the mind's going to be like, yeah, right, you are. right? And so then it's going to cause more resistance, more doubt, more frustration. So you want to find a better feeling thought than where you are. So saying something like, I'm a money magnet. Now, you might doubt that. So if you're saying, I'm totally in debt, I'm totally screwed, like, I mean, what am I going to do? I'm hopeless, I'm helpless. If you could find a better feeling thought that there is hope, I can attract money. Just something like that will shift you out of the negativity instead of going like, oh my God, I'm helpless, so hopeless, to go, I'm a millionaire. It's going to be like, yeah, right, I am.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's good. And so you meditate every day, I'm assuming?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
The days that I don't, I feel it big time.
Is it your morning thing or is it an evening thing for you?
Both. I meditate first thing in the morning and then right before I go to bed. Yep.
And are you in silence or are you speaking during your meditations and like with affirmations?
Well, I have a lot of programs that I've created, like specifically the Abundance Principle coaching program, where it's like you focus on daily statements. So if someone's new to, and the reason I design my courses like this is because a lot of times someone is new to meditation. And so when you can focus on like an affirmation or a daily statement, it helps the mind, because what happens when someone goes to first learn how to meditate and they're trying to absolutely quiet their mind, the mind is going to be like, I have to do this. And what about that? And I got to have this to-do list. And you're going to end up like, getting out of the meditation and creating a to-do list, or, the mind's going to tell you, oh,
Right.
what'd you eat yesterday? And, because it's the monkey mind. It's what it does. So to start the process, now I can sit in silence and just feel energy and bring in energy and, connect to a higher vibration. But I've been doing it for over 2 decades. In the beginning, it was more of like focusing on a affirmation like, I am abundant, I am abundant, I am abundant. Or it could be putting on music, or doing a guided meditation. I offer many guided meditations for people that have a hard time, that they want to meditate, but they just don't know how. So there's many different options and ways.
Okay. I've heard a few of your meditations, and I don't know how you do it, because the words just come so freely, and so you're just so tapped in. And
thank you.
and I'm like, oh my God, she's saying, and the things that you say are like, they resonate. They've definitely resonated with me. So your meditations have really been amazing, an amazing experience.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So, all right. So we've got that down. Was there okay. So let's talk about another law.
Okay. We can talk about, let me see, what's a good one? Let's talk about the law of pure potentiality. So the law of pure potentiality is really that everything that we think of, everything that we want to create, comes from energy first. And so there is pure potential to create it. So you could look at the universe and anything in it and see that there really is pure potentiality. So for example, a tree. When a tree is planted, there is pure potentiality for what that tree can become. When you look out into the stars and you see like all these different stars, I mean, there's different galaxies out there, and there's just all this space, and all that space, all that air, if you want to think of it that way, from the top of your head to the top of your ceiling, that is unmanifested potential to become something. Mm-hmm. And when you think of like even the concept of God, divine self, all that is, there is just pure potential. We can't even in our human minds understand and comprehend what this energy is, what this source, what this resource is. And all of it comes from pure potentiality. So when we as the human person receive an idea or desire for something, what's great about it is that came from pure potentiality, because we as human beings, we're cute and all, but when we don't actually think of the ideas, we receive them. We receive them from the divine connection, right. And a divine, we're the receiver. And so as the receiver, we either know that pure potentiality and say, ooh, I like that. That feels exciting. I want to do that. Or what a lot of people do is they're like, well, who am I to do that? I don't know how to do that. Well, that'd be cool, but I don't know. I'm not the person to do it. Oh, somebody else is probably already doing it.
Right.
So there's like that doubt, that talk of, oh, who am I to? And so that energy dissipates. But when you can take that energy of an idea, of a desire, and get excited and feel the pure potentiality of it, feel the expansiveness of what it could potentially be, and get excited about that, then that's when the concrete ideas of call this person, they might know, or take this step, or buy this book, or go to this course, or whatever the guidance will be, that's the momentum that we need to take. But as long as we're staying in that excitement of what this thing could become and what the potential of it could be, then there's no limits. Anything is possible. And so that's an act of, meditating and connecting with all that is.
Now, is this sort of, you gave an example in your book about a time when you launched a course, and you had launched many courses, but there was, I think, a coach of yours that had said, well, this is a good idea. You should do it this way. And you created a course and you launched it, and then no one really signed up for it. And then you had said that there was what was the difference between the one that sold out versus this one? Do you want to talk about that? Is
Sure.
that what you mean with this? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the example I was giving in Quantum Success is, I'm in Hawaii with my family. We're at the Four Seasons Maui. I'm like by the pool. I'm getting a foot massage. I'm hearing my kids and my husband playing around in the pool. And I just received this idea to do a meditation series on Facebook, 20 minutes a day, in and out. People just come together. They can do it on Zoom. They can do it on, just on Facebook. And that's it. And you charge this amount of money for it, and you show up live every day. And you also can give them the recordings, and that's the program. And I'm like, oh my God. And then, it was like, that's amazing. And then you could have a different theme. Like the theme for 1 month could be joy. The next one could be abundance. The next one would be freedom. The next could be creating loving relationships. And I was just like, oh my God, when can I start this? I was just like, let's go. I was so excited. And it was, I remember it was the middle of November. And I was like, I want to start it next week. And it just made sense. It was like, started at the first of the month. It'll be 30 days of meditation. Perfect. So I started it on December 1st, and I had the amount of people that came in, and still do, because I still offer it, not every month, but the months that I do, it's just incredible. And then the other part of the idea was, do it for free the first 3 days, show people what the meditations are about, allow them to, sample it. If they love how they're feeling and they want to be a part of it for the rest of the month, and you offer it, and then you go into a private group. And so I did that, and it was just wildly successful. The opposite happened literally about, I want to say, a month later. I was at a conference, and a big marketing guru kind of guy in the internet marketing world was saying that if you don't do a continuity program, you are, leaving money on the table, and you're not giving your clients the service that they need, and all this kind of stuff. And you got to do some kind of continuity program. If you're not doing that, you're not living your potential, or whatever, like all this kind of stuff. Right. And so I was like, oh my God, I got to do a continuity program. And so I launched this continuity program, and literally had one person sign up. I haven't had one person sign up for a course when I've launched it ever since being a coach. And I've been a coach for over 17 years. And even when I was doing, when I first became an author and I wasn't even a coach yet, when I would do a workshop, like a yoga studio or like a spiritual bookstore or something like that, I've never had just one person, show up. So it was such an evidence to me of two polar opposite experiences. One that came through me as in something that was inspired. And as I was feeling it come through me, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my God, I love this. Versus someone telling me I should do something. And when they were saying it, I'm like, no, I don't know. And it was like becoming fearful, like, oh my God, am I missing out? That fear of missing out on something.
Right.
FOMO, I was just like, oh my God, maybe he's right. And so one was coming from divine inspiration. One was coming from pure potentiality, where the other one was coming from a person that was shoulding on me, telling me what I should do.
Okay.
And
Right.
yeah. And so I knew in that moment, one felt really expansive. One felt really good. The other one felt like, well, it felt like fear. It felt like, well, I'm going to do damage. It was more of like fear driven than inspired driven. And so for me, it literally was no surprise. It was just really interesting to step back and witness that and to see the difference and how the idea, they're both ideas, right? What when they're both ideas. So it's like, great, they're both ideas. Which one do you run with? The one that feels good or the one that doesn't?
Yes. Right. Exactly. Yeah. The one that inspired you and just kind of popped into your mind.
Yes.
So that's happened to me where thoughts will come out of nowhere and they'll just like, oh my gosh. And I have to write them down. Because if I'm driving or I'm not able to, like write it down or work on it or start thinking about it, it's gone. I don't know if that's ever happened to you before, but I'll have great ideas. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a really great idea. I have to write that down when I get home. And then I get home and I'm like, oh my God, what was that idea? And so for those of you, if that ever happens, write it down right away. But
yeah, I do that for ideas for one of my shows or podcasts. And if I don't write it down right away, I'm like, what was that again? But then if I write it down, I'm like, oh yeah, I get jogged. That inspiration gets jogged.
yes, right, exactly.
Yeah.
There was a conference that I attended a couple years ago. It was, it was at least 2 years ago. And it was a very highly energetic, about 10,000 people conference. And as I was sitting there, suddenly the name of my next book, I'm coming out with a book next month, but the name of the next one came to mind. And then I just started frantically writing it down and all of the chapters, the heading of each, I think there were like 10 chapters. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I can't wait. I've been holding back writing it, because I'm still launching the other one, but it came through. I didn't have to think about, well, what am I going to do? What's going to be my next book about? Let me think about this. It just kind of landed. And those are the ones that I feel are, like you said, divinely inspired and take action on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, all of my books are like that. I mean, I don't go to write a book. They're downloaded through me just like that idea.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because I can't. When my first book hit the New York, when one of my first books hit the New York Times bestselling book thing, my literary agent came to me. He's like, "All right, what's your next book?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'll let you know when I know," because I can't just go and write a book. And I didn't. It wasn't revealed to me yet. The next book was The Art of Having It All, but it wasn't revealed to me yet. And that's just how I've always been with books. And, now I've got 2 of them that are ready to be birthed but they've already downloaded through me,
right.
So it's like that process has to happen first, before anything.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do you think about all of those, there's like that marketing person? I mean, there's so many marketing people out there that are like, do it this way and funnel and this, that, and the other. And this is the way it all needs to be done. Is there any sort of truth to that? Or, I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, there's the difference between like a strategy, like when there's a certain strategy that has to, that we know works. Say, for example, if it's a funnel, like you mentioned, creating a funnel and doing it that way. There's a strategy that definitely works, but it's a matter of plugging in our own inspired things and not being told what to do. So, for example, continuity programs work. I just actually launched one in August for my coaches that I train and, doing business coaching with them. So it's not that continuity programs don't work. It was just the idea of putting one together because you need to, right? It was like that was kind of the forced, this is an idea you must do kind of thing.
Right.
But then when I found a need and what my coaches needed as, extra support beyond the certification through the Quantum Success Coaching Academy, then it was like, I asked them, would you be interested in doing a monthly, kind of mastermind meeting every month? And they were all like, yeah, so that's what I then created from that idea. But it wasn't like a forced thing that I should do. It was more of like, it fills a need. So there are obviously strategies, no matter if it could be writing a book, right? It's like, you have to have chapters and chapter summaries if you're writing a proposal, or, there's a formula to follow.
Right.
But it's the inspired, I feel like it's the inspired information that has to come first, and then in order to use those strategies.
Okay. Got it. Oh, this has been so good.
Thank you.
Well, how can people find you?
Well, I'd love to give everybody a gift. So,
great.
So one of the ways that you become a better manifester is you become more self-aware, and obviously watching your words is really important because words have creative power. So I created a series called Watch Your Words. You could actually go to watchyourwords.com, and it's a 30-day program. It's free. It's complimentary. And it's a video every single day to tell you the words not to say and then the words to say. So we were talking about earlier about if someone's in debt, right? And they're looking at their debt and they're like, well, I want to go do this, but I can't afford it. I can't afford to go out. So that's one of the perfect things to stop saying is I can't afford. But Christy, I can afford it. Right. You believe that you can't afford it. And so that continues to be your reality. So the first thing to change is your language. Instead of saying I can't afford it, even if you believe you can't, start changing that to I choose not to buy that right now, or that's not a financial priority for me right now. And as you start to change those words and as you start to shift your language, you start shifting your energy. And if you start shifting these 30 literally words or phrases that pull your energy down and keep you creating the reality that you don't want, you will start to see your energy shift. Words like should, I don't want, things like these, that when you start to shift them to the words that empower you, you actually will feel better. When you feel better, you attract more of what you want. So you can go to watchyourwords.com. I also have my website, which is christywhitman.com. So no matter how you spell Christy Whitman, you're going to get there. But christywhitman.com or watchyourwords.com.
And you're on Facebook, Instagram, all of those things?
Yeah, I'm Christy Whitman 1 on Instagram, and I have Christy Whitman International on Facebook.
All right. And do you currently work with people other than coaches?
I do, yes. I have a podcast, Conscious Connected Coupling, with my husband, Frederick. We have a coupling podcast where we help couples really navigate the whole skill set of being in a loving, supported, connected relationship and how to heal stuff from the past. And then I also work with individuals. I work with a lot of like celebrities, athletes, and influencers. I like to affect change with a lot of people that affect change. But so I work with many different people.
Oh, great. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, was there anything that we didn't touch upon that you wanted to leave the audience with? Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say that, it wasn't like I was born with a silver spoon or this information. I literally was mired in self-doubt and judgment and criticism and, lack, and was raised that way. And so once I learned this information, it literally changed my life. And now it's helped change thousands of people's lives, and it's not like any of us are really at the core different in the sense that everything is energy. And what you believe, you will create. And as you start to pay attention to what you say to yourself about the things in your life and start to paying attention to how you feel, that if you feel bad in any way, you're in lack. If you feel good, you're in abundance. And you